If I could only have one lift, it would be this one because of how many benefits it has. The front foot stays flat, the back foot is on the toes. I'm showing you where I start most athletes, which is about a 9-inch box. Once the athlete can keep the torso up, fully cover the calves with the hamstrings. I say calves because you got gastroc and soleus, without the back knee touching the floor, without the back heel rotating in, which is an avoidance of the hip flexor stretch. So if anything, you can actually coach heel out. Heel out would be fine. That would actually maximize hip flexor stretch, but heel in is an avoidance of that stretch. So when an athlete can achieve this position, and it's very important at the top to stay on the tippy toes. Keep that calf flexed the whole time. It locks in the movement. Then I would have the athlete go lower and lower. That doesn't mean that you can't just start someone on flat ground. I'll simulate being tighter. It doesn't mean this isn't a good workout, but it's going to be safer to elevate the front foot and use perfect form. I prefer if the front foot is elevated and someone's still working out their flexibility issues. So unless someone's flat ground with just brilliant flexibility, I prefer dumbbells for loading because it's safer to ditch them if you lose balance or if you're unsure of yourself. So dumbbells are going to be safest for loading versus bar. And as you can see, if I go deeper here, you'll see that the angle between the front leg and the back leg increases, requiring more flexibility. And the general target is to work this to flat ground. And I'll show you one more thing here on flat ground, is that in order to hit full depth without the back knee touching the floor, you're actually trying to contract that glute. So I'm trying to use the glute. Instead of avoiding the stretch, I'm trying to use the glute to bring in the hip flexor stretch while keeping the torso up. So I'm using that glute up. The harder I stretch those hip flexors, the more the front leg has to work. Now, there's cases where I use then bar on back and bar on front. Once someone has the flexibility for flat ground and is doing higher reps, or often we'll do like 10 reps and then pause 30 seconds on the last rep, I prefer bar on back simply so that your grip doesn't tire out. Bar on back is going to be the most relaxing. But a quick tip here, bar on back, I'll show, yeah, you can see from this angle. When using bar on back, try to work on your elbows being vertical rather than here. So this is going to force the exercise with the best form, with that vertical elbow. And then if you're on that last 30-second pause, you're not relaxing. You're thinking how to straighten the back leg as much as you can. Watch my front leg. When I straighten that back leg as much as I can, it lifts me up just enough that my front leg is working. I work those elbows there. I'm working that position. Absolutely brutal. Now, if just going for maximum strength, which we often do on a lot of split squat programs, I prefer bar in front because this is not a position you want to hit failure with the bar on your back. Boom. You can get out of it easier with the bar on front. But you can see how in this position, hitting failure with the bar on your back, it's kind of like where do you go to get out of it. So we actually test, if it's anything like 5 rep or less, that you're actually going like towards the limit, we go with bar on front. And one interesting aspect is elevating the back foot. Most people prematurely elevate the back foot before they've really mastered flat ground. So if we look at flat ground, the flexibility it takes to keep the front foot planted, the front heel planted, cover the calves with the hamstrings, the torso vertical, and the back knee not touching the floor with the heel straight or out. That is already as much flexibility as would be necessary for any of the top 10,000 earners in sport. So business is, life is money. It's not, the money is what allows us to do what we want to do in life. So for me as a trainer, what value can I bring people? Well, the amount of people who need to go back foot elevated is very slight, and there's actually a big mistake because back foot elevated doesn't hold you strict. You can let this hip flexor bend way too much. See, this is back foot elevated, and I'm getting front hamstring cover the calf, and my knee is not touching the floor. Those are all technical aspects of a split squat, yet I'm cheating the fuck out of it because I'm actually not stretching as much here as I would have to on flat ground. You see that? So back foot elevated, you could actually use less mobility and put less weight on the front leg than flat ground. So at the current moment, I don't have any athletes that I'm training back foot elevated. I don't think it's necessary. But if I was training an Olympic figure skater, who are probably not in the top 10,000 earners in sports, unfortunately. If I was training an Olympic figure skater, maybe certain gymnasts, if I was training someone in Cirque du Soleil, something like that, then yes, I would in that case. Once flat ground mobility was easy, I would progress back foot elevated, but I would have to give them some kind of a test to enforce it. Like, this is just an example, but maybe if I did something like this. See that was a serious challenge. I'll show you one more just showing. So that's beyond my flexibility. Maybe here. Maybe with 6 and 3 inch. Let's see. Oh, it's definitely getting in there. So could this challenge me more? Yes, it could, but is it necessary? Is it worth the risk to reward? Probably not. So that's what perfect form is, how to progress, regress, and the different types of loading and why.